I'm sorry. Every 14-year-old that I see does not look like an adult. I'm sorry.
No, this
For
is a chat room. This is a chat room over the
It does
phone.
not matter.
No, but I'm saying that, like, if I actually would have, like, met up with
If
those people,
minors
it would
are
have been
able to
partially my
gain,
fault.
listen, if minors are able to gain access, then all the adults that are running the app or the website and all the adults in it are responsible. Why? Listen.
We didn't have that shit back in the day, though. We didn't have fucking...
It does not matter. It does not matter. You are part of the problem.
Pink, is this the hill you're dying on, by the way? Like, I'm sorry.
She's already died on it.
Like,
I died and resurrected. I died and I was
right
reincarnated. I died and then...
When I was 16 years old, I used to go to nightclubs. I had a fake ID. Would you say that it was my fault and I should have been held responsible? Or the bouncer who wasn't properly checking and verifying my ID to make sure that it was real?
Okay, so, like, I don't understand that, because I also had a fake ID, and I also went to the bars, and, I mean, I wasn't like my friends who were throwing themselves at people.
You're not answering my question.
The bouncer takes one look at your ID, and they look at you, and then they let you through. How is that his fault? You know how many IDs he has to go through a day?
Because a lot of the times with fake IDs, the person in the ID doesn't even look like the person given the ID.
Muppet.
So your fake ID wasn't a picture of you?
No, Muppet. Can I make a point? Can I make a point about the fake ID?
Okay, my fake ID was an actual picture of me.
Okay, so if you're 16 and you're going to the effort of faking and paying someone on Instagram or whatever to make a fake ID, at 16 years old, you know exactly what you're doing and you're putting yourself...
Do I at 16?
All right, so you don't know what you're doing when you're going to a club at 16. Are you really going to be that stupid and naive?
No. I'm not being stupid. But we're not really aware of the ramifications at such a young age.
Yes, everybody knows.
A lot of children,
the danger.
No.
Yes,
a lot of children don't care about the
repercussions.
The repercussions.
Right. We're kids. Like, they know what they're doing, but again, they're not thinking long term, they're not thinking long run, they're not thinking repercussions. So the fact that you're trying to hold a child accountable, you're trying to hold a child accountable for stuff like that, like, it's just not going to work.
At 16, you have to have some level of accountability. You can start learning to drive at 16. So, like, you have to take accountability.
Listen, having a sense of level of responsibility does not mean that they are an adult. We relinquish responsibility to children to allow them to learn and develop, not to have them consent. Okay, I don't understand this idiocracy that you're spreading, where someone is quote unquote having some sense of responsibility, therefore means that they are of rational mind, does not make any sense. We have children do chores all the time at 10 years old. That is a sense of responsibility. That doesn't mean that 10-year-olds can therefore consent.
No, but what about 16 and pregnant? Have you not seen that show where they were pregnant and they switched their whole life around?
You're taking this very out of context. You cannot jump.
Out of context. It's the same situation. Stop doing that.
No, it's not, because you cannot jump from 16 to 10 to try and prove your point. You cannot do that. You just cannot.
Yes, I can.
No, actually, Zach, you can, because
you can't.
Hold on, Zach. You're talking about a 16-year-old being able to drive a car. If you wanted to teach a 10-year-old to drive a car, guess what? They can drive a fucking car.
No, they can't. They're probably not tall enough.
I'm not saying that they have a license. I'm saying that they have the ability to control the automobile.
Girl, you're acting as if I wasn't 10 and tried to drive, and I was driving tractors at that age.
Okay. First of all, the same principle applies. Your principle was, if they have a sense of responsibility, they have some sense of an ability to consent.
And accountability.
I don't need you to speak for me. Stop talking over me. Shut up.
You can't manipulate my words.
Nobody's manipulating you. That was verbatim what you said. What are you talking about?
No, it wasn't. Let me explain.
So say it again. Say it again, Troglodyte. Say it again.
You don't need to name call to, like, make yourself.
Be quiet. Go ahead, Avani.
I don't need to, listen, Zach, I don't need to do anything. You're doing it yourself. Go ahead and say what you got to say. Even though it was verbatim said exactly what I said. Go ahead.
The point was, at different ages, there's different levels of accountability. The reason why I didn't bring up a 10-year-old is because a 10-year-old doesn't have the same responsibility as a 16-year-old. The point is specifically about 16-year-olds. And at 16-year-olds, you have a degree of responsibility.
What's the difference?
It's about ability.
Let me talk. You also have a degree of knowledge and understanding. And the point was, you simply can't just go around getting purpose fake IDs, going into a club environment, knowing what you're doing.
Hang on, let him finish. It's okay, let him finish. I got something for him.
I'm not on about 10-year-olds, I'm on about 16-year-olds.
Okay. Because you don't understand how analogies work, so let me educate you for a second. These levels of maturity, of responsibility, are going to be subjective based on a value system that parents are setting. There's going to be a different subject of responsibility given to a 10-year-old that is in one household versus another. You cannot tell me that that is somehow relates to the ability to consent, because if you have a 16-year-old that has lesser responsibility in one household but higher responsibility in another household, that somehow means that this one 16-year-old that has higher responsibility has a higher sense of an ability to consent than this other 16-year-old is the problem. This sense of value systems that you are placing on the responsibility that is being placed on individuals is non-cynical, because the same could be applied to adults. If you have one adult that has lesser responsibilities because they're having everything paid for them versus another adult that has more responsibility, we're not going to therefore say that the adult that has more responsibility therefore has more of an ability to consent than the adult that has no responsibility. So everything that you're saying is a load of bullshit. That's what I'm saying.
No, because that's not, let me explain, that's not how society in the world works. The way we give out responsibility, the way we give out responsibility is based off of averages. The reason why 18-year-olds aren't allowed to vote is because on average, 18-year-olds aren't deemed to have
what do you mean?
Averages are based on
vote in America is 18. What are you talking about?
I meant under 18-year-olds. The reason why is because we deem it based off averages. That's the reason why we let 16-year-olds.
No, we don't. We deem it based on neurological. No, we don't. We place it based on neurological development and observation of the ability to perform certain functions. That's how we do it. Not based on quota. Stop over talking me. You hear me fucking talking.
Yeah, but we do it based off the neurological capabilities of the average 16-year-old.
That is not based on a quota. That is not based on a quota. So you're contradicting yourself again.
No, I'm not.
Oh my God. Just mute. Miss Blade, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hope everyone's okay in here. Well, not everyone, but I just had a question for Pink, Razor, and Zach. If someone came up to you, you didn't know how old they were, but in reality, they were a teenager, let's say 14, 15. Would you hook up with them if you were attracted to them?
Hang on.
Why not?
Wait. So somebody comes up to me. I don't know how. Right. So I don't know how old they are.
If they hit on you, but then you found out later. I guess you found out after the fact. How you hold on. If they were hitting on you, but they were a child, let's say. They were, because I consider teenagers children. They were like 14, 15.